If you are vegan and you think it's the healthiest thing for you to do, I completely understand. I believed that same thing to the point where I was plant-based vegan for 8 years, thinking that it would heal a lot of things in my body, but little did I know that it actually made my gut issues worse, more worse, if that is a word, more worse than it already was before. So before I was plant-based, I took antibiotics, Accutane, and I took antibiotics for years, for 2 years when I was in high school for my acne, and it did reduce the acne, but later on it came back and I had to, switch another antibiotic and change it around because my body got used to it. But anyway, it's the reason why I took antibiotics for a couple of years. And I didn't know that it's the reason why my gut started to deteriorate. And I thought, in order for me to get rid of my acne, in order for me to get rid of my cholesterol, my headaches, and my tiredness and foggy brain, was to eat healthy. And I didn't know I had gut issues. I mean, gut health was not talked about back then, 10 years ago, or even like 7 years ago, right? 10 years ago, it was not talked about. High school was years ago for me. But anyway, I didn't even know what gut issues looked like. I didn't even know about gut health. I didn't know that the microbiome even existed. I was just like, okay, I have high cholesterol, I have headaches, I have acne. Clearly there's something to do with my diet that's causing this. So I knew that at least, and doctors told me that too. I just needed to figure out what kind of diet would work for me because, it's the foundation for a lot of the health issues in our bodies, right? Whether it helps us or whether it deteriorates our bodies, diet is very important. So I knew that. And I thought, well, what's trending right now? The plant-based diet. Plant-based was like all the rage years ago. It still is now, but back then it was, Frilly the Banana Girl, Durian Rider, all these like YouTube influencers were promoting this heavily. And there was a lot of, cult following and trending of plant-based diets going around. And there was different kinds of plant-based diets. And when I initially did it, I did it in the wrong way. I did junk food vegan because I was just learning and I was just, going with the punches. And I started to follow like a YouTube girl called Frilly the Banana Girl and then Durian Rider, her boyfriend at the time, and bought her book and studied how to eat raw, plant-based, raw till 4 p.m. and eat cooked foods after 4 and basically not cook in oils at all. So I actually didn't eat seed oils naturally when I was at home. I took out the seed oils because I wasn't cooking oil at home. Believe it or not, I was eating a lot of raw foods. And after 4 p.m., a lot of cooked potatoes and pasta with, tomato sauce and vegetables like mushrooms and stuff like that. And I also followed Dr. McDougall, who promotes the plant-based diet, Dr. Neil Bernard, who also promotes the plant-based diet. When you follow these doctors who are plant-based, who promote it and say it's the most healthiest thing in the world, with any issue that you have in your body, it can relieve it. You think it's the best because, they're credible, they know how to talk, they know how to research. Like, you think they would know it all. They would know that this diet is the best, and I followed them. So, I followed their authority and did the plant-based diet and did it correctly this time around. I think it was like maybe the 3rd year of being plant-based. Took the right vitamins, supplements, specifically a multivitamin from the right source. I believe the company at the time was Complement. They were great. And I made sure to have iodine, B12. But the thing is, guys, like, I was doing plant-based for, issues in my body. Like I said, issues in my body that I didn't know stemmed from my gut. I just thought, okay, it's just, problems in my body that are, that are not related. And so I did plant-based to relieve me of those symptoms, the acne, high cholesterol, headaches, and tiredness, foggy brain. And it did not really go away, except the acne did reduce. The high cholesterol did reduce. Of course, it did. It did reduce a lot. But the acne was still there. only minimal reduction in that. And then I still, felt tired. I had a foggy brain. I didn't get the headaches anymore. So the plant-based diet did reduce some symptoms and got rid of the headaches. But I also believe it's also because when I did the plant-based diet, I did initially feel better because this is my thought. When you take out the junk food, the seed oils, the processed foods, you immediately feel better. With any diet that you're doing and you take out the junk food and processed foods and seed oils, you just feel better. And so that's what I did. And that's why I feel like in the beginning of the plant-based journey, I was so good. I felt so good because my body was finally getting relief, and can finally start to heal some things in my body. Like I said, I didn't have headaches anymore. I didn't have high cholesterol, but I did feel tired. I had a foggy brain, a bloated stomach, didn't sleep well, and just didn't feel great. In the beginning I did in the plant-based diet, but as the years went on, I started to not feel so good anymore from the middle till the end of my plant-based journey. And so what I figured out over the years is that all these symptoms that I had in my body and in my brain originated from my gut. My gut was the problem because my gut was just not healthy. I had leaky gut for years and I didn't know it. Even before plant-based, I had leaky gut, but because I went on plant-based, which was a high-carb, low-fat diet, if you know anything about the gut, when you ingest too much carbs, aka sugar, it can really feed a lot of the bad bacteria in your gut and have it grow and grow and grow to the point where now the leaky gut cannot heal. The gut just can't think to heal the leaky gut because now it has all these issues in the gut of, the bad bacteria growing, and we don't want that. See, the good and bad bacteria we do need in our gut. We just don't want the bad bacteria to overpower the good bacteria. And sugar feeds the bad bacteria and grows it and grows it. And we don't want that. And that's what happened to me. So that's something to be aware, you guys. Like, when you're on the plant-based diet and you have gut issues, it's very hard to heal it, in my opinion, because, even though I did, have gut issues before, I had leaky gut before I went plant-based, it certainly sped the deterioration of my gut because I was not healing it in any way. I didn't know, like I said, about gut health, and it basically it just made my gut weaker and weaker over time because I wasn't nourishing my body with fat. I wasn't nourishing my gut with fat, and it wasn't having a lot of space even to think about to heal my leaky gut. And so over the years, I had all these symptoms of a foggy brain, bad memory, tiredness, lethargy, not sleeping well. And I'm thinking, well, I'm doing the plant-based diet correct. I'm taking the right supplements, getting the blood test done. My doctor just said, the nurse said, she looked at my blood test and said, oh, wow, you look like an athlete. And I'm like, well, I don't feel good. I didn't tell her that, but I was like, but why don't I feel good? What is wrong with me? And the thing is, the nutrients from meat versus plants are different. There's more bioavailability in meat rather than plants. And what I mean by that, guys, is that even though my blood tests were great, those nutrients that I got from plants were just floating around in my body. They were not being utilized by my body and taken to the right places in my body. So when I ate meat, I just felt like an instant, especially when I ate my first steak, my body, specifically my mind, was awake. Within 20 minutes, it was like, this is what we needed. The fat from meat, the nutrients from meat just made me feel alive. It stopped the foggy brain. It made me think faster. It made me have more energy, no longer low energy. So that's something to think about, guys. Like, for me, if you are plant-based, please consider, if you're plant-based and you have gut issues, please consider something else. Because I say this because usually if you go on the plant-based diet, it's very hard to heal your gut because you have to eat carbs of some sort. And if you are trying to eat high-fat, low carbs on a plant-based diet, in my opinion, that's quite hard because in fat, even in, like, let's say you get fats from avocados or from nuts. Nuts have a lot of oxalates, and oxalates are not good for your gut. And if you have a very, very sensitive gut, it can be sensitive to the oxalates in nuts, and it won't have time to heal because now it's defending itself against oxalates and slowing down the damage. Well, not even slowing down the damage, slowing down the healing in your body and causing more damage. So that's why I'm not a big believer in healing your gut through the plant-based diet. I would like to be proven wrong, just because, you know, I don't want people to feel like they have to do the carnivore diet, but I do believe that, you know, the carnivore diet will heal most people's gut issues because it's such a clean diet and it doesn't include all the oxalates and anti-nutrients from plants, from vegetables and nuts. And it's a very clean diet that includes a lot of fat. Animal fat really soothes and heals your gut, you guys, and I think that's so underrated nowadays. Like, people think the carnivore diet causes cancer and blah blah blah. No, I believe it truly can heal your leaky gut, and I hope this video helped. If you want further help in healing your gut and you don't know what to do, I specifically created a free video guide just for you about the 7 mistakes that you are committing to not heal your gut. I placed it down below in the description box, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.